What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone is doing well, and what a surprise, another Celtics win. They're able to pull this one out against the Indiana Pacers, the final score being 129 to 124. This Celtics team is now 8-2 in their last 10, 22-2 at home, and 37-11 on the season as a whole. That's 4.5 games up on the second best team in the East, which is the Milwaukee Bucks. Tonight was a roller coaster of a game, from the Celtics being up 20 points there in that first half to in the second half being down 1, but ultimately being able to pull this thing out. I always enjoy this matchup, Celtics-Pacers. It's two of the most high-powered offenses in the league going head-to-head. Every time they face off, these teams put up 120 to even 150 points. And tonight was no different. Each team was able to put together at least 2 quarters of just an offensive clinic. The Celtics there in that first half put up 81 points. That was the most points scored in a half for this franchise since 1982. And by the end of that first half there, the Celtics were up 15 points, shooting 64% from the field, 57% from 3, but why were they so successful? How did they generate such good offense? A lot of success in that first half offense came from Derek White. Just another great game from him overall. I think that fourth quarter from, last night's game really carried over to tonight's game. In that first quarter there alone, he had 15 points, but it's not all about his individual scoring. What this team did was they made Derek the primary ball handler for a lot of tonight's first half, a lot of that first quarter. They ran sets through him, but they also played at D. White's pace, and going up against Indiana, it's all about the pace. It seemed that with the ball in Derek's hands, the pushing of the pace, it started to generate some really fluid offense for this team. The ball was moving well. There were some sequences of some nice skip passes, swing passes. The threes were falling. And as a result of that, Indiana ratcheted up their game plan of what they always do, running you off that 3-point line. But in turn, what does that do? That opens up the lanes for guys like Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and we saw them get to the basket a lot there in that first half. Most of JB's 8 free throw attempts came there in that first half. We saw Derek get to the floater 3-4 times. We saw Tatum finish around the rim 4 or 5 times. So it was a good balance of the 3-ball falling, getting to the rim, what everyone wants to call, quote unquote, Missoula ball. But in that second quarter there, we saw some things kind of shifting. While it was a high-powered offensive quarter for the Celtics, putting up 45 points, they also gave up 40 points to this Indiana Pacers team. So now we are getting to why this 20-point lead was blown. This team, the Celtics, as I just said, scored 45 points in that second quarter alone. But is the energy they exerted doing that affecting them on the defensive end? And I think that's exactly what happened. See, the thing is that the Celtics are able to play the pace of the Indiana Pacers, but only for 2 quarters. The Indiana Pacers do this on a night in, night out basis. They don't care who you are. They're going to run you to the ground, and they're going to throw up a bunch of threes. They are conditioned to do this. The pace at which they play at, the amount of shots that they get up, that's exactly why they are as good as they are with like a bottom 5 defense in the league. My point in bringing this up though is that after the game on social media, a lot of Celtics fans were upset that this team allowed the 20-point lead to diminish. And what I'm saying is that yes, the Celtics were up 20, but they were up 20 against a historic offense. It's unrealistic to expect the C's to bury Indiana by 50. Indiana doesn't lack confidence. They have no quit in them. They're just bound to make runs. That being said though, the Celtics did not need to blow the lead to a point where they ended up being in a deficit themselves. Because Indiana's run didn't happen the typical way you would imagine it to, right? They weren't getting out and transition a whole bunch. The 3-ball wasn't falling at an incredible clip as it does at times for them. I think Indiana's second half run was a product of physical exhaustion for the Celtics team, but also just great hustle by the Pacers. I mean, just in the rebounding category alone, Indiana killed Boston on the glass, and specifically the offensive glass. Indiana grabbed 19 offensive boards to the Celtics 7. Indiana's offensive boards led to 32 second chance points. At the end of the day, the Celtics were still able to grab this win, and they did it by turning up the intensity on the defensive end of the floor. That last minute there, we saw some nice blocks. We saw Derek get that nice block on Nesmith for the corner 3, and then Tatum with 2 blocks in the last 30 seconds of the game to really seal this deal. But it's at that point in the episode, let's move on to the quick hits, and we will touch on some individual performances. First, we will start off with Kata. Kata has kind of disappeared since that West Coast road trip with Luke being healthy again, but now Luke's out, so he's back in the lineup, and tonight I thought was a fairly good performance. You look at the plus minus. I know plus minus isn't a great, it's kind of bogus, right? But for bench players, it's a little bit better because it's like, are you holding your own when some of the starters are off the floor? And he was a plus 15 tonight. Just a solid performance. He was battling. He was a presence in that jump ball, not the jump ball that he tipped to himself, but the jump ball he hit to JB. JB tapped back to him. He dunked for the foul and won. I thought that brought some momentum back into the team, helped this team get going for the rest of the fourth quarter. So shout out Keita. I feel like if he could be a little bit more under control, he can carve out some more minutes on this team. But moving on, JT and JB, they were both great tonight. They did their thing. Little strange to see JB get a little iced out there in that fourth quarter, but you know, this team has a lot of talent, so some games is just not going to be your time. And lastly, we'll talk about Porzingis. He finished with 17 and 12, but he didn't look completely right to me. And the way I kind of gauged that was on the defensive end of the floor. He was getting pushed around a lot, and that might be expected from a Miles Turner because he's a big guy, but even a guy like Pascal was getting into Porzingis, pushing him back tonight. I think it has to do with that ankle. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of stability on it right now. He's still in some pain. I'm pretty sure he mentioned that after the game tonight. All that being said, the Celtics still grabbed the win, 129 to 124. They are now 37 and 11 on the season. This is a really fun matchup though, guys. I hope we could see it during the playoffs. I expect with Halliburton being fully healthy and back, they'll be, you know, somewhere in the 4 or 5 seeding area, which could line them up for the second round. But that 4 or 5 matchup, it's just a tough road for whoever gets it. You know, you got Indiana around there, New York, Cleveland, Philly. It's going to be a bloodbath of a first round. I'm excited for that as well. I'm going to wrap it up right there, though. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. It's the best and easiest way to support. I'm here after every single Celtics game, all 82 plus the playoffs. I'm not going anywhere. I'll talk to you guys Thursday. We're still in this homestand, by the way. Thursday, February 1st versus, yes, the Los Angeles Lakers. Peace.